Say kids, what time is it? PDR tool time. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Toledo here with John Hiley, Vince D'Alessandro, and I think Daniel Grom will not be making the show. He is actually coming back from the mountains, and it seems like he's a little revived. But meanwhile, we have a special guest with us, Brice Kelly. Brice Kelly is a well-known good PDR tech, actually better than good. He's all right, but he's really well known for doing some very complex dents. And today we're going to ask him some questions regarding some of the tools he uses, obviously some of the techniques. We're going to pick his brain for you guys. So here we go. Brice Kelly, thanks a lot, man, for joining the show, man. Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Brice. Thanks, Brice.
To be here. You guys are awesome. I do love this show.
So tell us a little bit of history about yourself, Brice. Where you come from, what you do, how long have you been a PDR tech?
Well, I have been a PDR technician for, 2003 is when I started. And now it all started because my father owns a repair shop in good old Deltona, Florida. And he would just have, just random paintless dent removal technicians come in, and I would always pick their brain and ask them all these questions about, how they do it. And I said to myself, man, I got to learn how to do this. I see these guys coming in here, and not so much for the money. I was super interested, about the process in general. So, next thing you know, I'm talking to, this one guy. He's telling me about this place called Right Look, where he went and got trained, which is where I went and got trained. Wow. And I'm flying on an airplane to San Diego, and I come back and I'm, pushing dents in the back of my dad's shop there. And trying to, at least.
What year was that?
That was 03. Yeah.
Geez, Mike, you were training at that point. I
was training John Trice at that time, and he went the Right Look.
Really?
Yeah. But go ahead. Go ahead.
It just I actually got to the point where I had customers coming in and inquiring about the service, because I had a little sign out front, and customers would drop their cars off, and I'd start working on them, and of course they were dropping smashes off, and I had no idea these smashes. I thought that's how all dents were, fixed. Just people were just doing smashes, and I didn't get paid on half of them because I either messed them up or they just didn't come out that great, and they had to go to the paint shop and whatnot. But not too good for my reputation. But got a phone call one day from an auction, believe it or not. And they found my flyer in a puddle at a gas station. And they said, hey, listen, we need a dent guy. Our dent guy's not doing too good over there. And, he's boozing it up and partying it up. And we need somebody here now. So I dropped what I was doing, and I headed down there. And they basically just pointed to this lot full of like 400 cars. They said, there you go. Start right now. And I did. And it's history from there. I started working on some of the bigger dents. Like I said, I really had more of an inclination to try to get into the bigger stuff for some reason. I just had a fascination with larger dents, because at the time nobody was really fixing the heavier stuff except for Mike Toledo. So because I remember watching his videos, and that's what really kind of got me into the whole thing.
Brice, I remember you doing a kick dent back in the day on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then you fixed it, and I was like, dude, that's good, man. And I remember talking the first time. I remember leaving a comment to you, dude.
I had no idea what I was doing back then either. I was barbaric in my technique.
No, and I watched you grow though. I was like, man, this guy's getting better and faster, dude. You know what I mean?
So you actually did a kick dent on YouTube, Brice.
I did, yeah, and you'll see. Yeah.
Who does that, man? That is so barbaric. Whose car did you kick, sir? I need to know right now, whose car did you kick? Because I'm going to call them, and I know you did it to a good customer's car, and I need to know whose car you kicked. That's what I get, man.
Yeah, the Facebook post.
You know what? I'm not telling anybody whose cars I kick. Yeah. You guys are going to have to guess.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a clue. If you guys all find out where the Mobile Tech Expo cars for the Dent Olympics come from, you found the trail to where my cars come from.
But going back to John always you gotta be patient with John, man.
No,
he gets on his rants, man.
All right, go ahead. We're back. We're off the kick.
Yeah. So basically, it was kind of history from there, and I just kind of moved into a auction / dealership thing for a long time, and I was servicing a couple dealerships and body shops as well, and I met this guy named Chris, and he actually came back into that auction about a year later and wanted the account back, and that's how I met him. And this is the guy that was boozing it up and partying crazy over there, and would come in whenever he wanted, and it turns out he actually started watching me work, and he wanted to help me because he saw I was struggling a little bit, so and that's where the light bulb kind of went off, and I knew that this is what I wanted to pursue for a career full time, and he just kind of showed me a lot of things that I think I really needed to know, a couple missing links, so to say, and it just helped me out and let me progress into the really heavy stuff and get better and better with the quality. So,
well, going back to what you mentioned earlier, you said you didn't know any better. You just thought that's how PDR was supposed to do train wrecks. It goes to show you that
they were bringing me.
Well, and it goes to show you that your mindset was like, okay, it was like Nike, just do it. You know what I mean? It's
exactly. I just basically jumped in,
Yeah. You either you have the mindset to do dents like that, you want to do dents like that, or you're like, nah, I'm only going to kind of do these type of dents. You know what I mean? It's
right.
It really is a mindset, and you have to be that type of tech to want to do that. And congratulations on that. I'm just saying, it's just you had no choice, and it puts you right there, to do it.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. And Mike, if you remember, even like when the economy started going bad, that's when I started doing the biggest dents ever. It was like, it was out of necessity. It's like, people aren't calling me for these little door dings.
They weren't. Yeah, they weren't.
they're not worried about the small little door ding right now. They're
obvious lease return smash ins that they couldn't afford to go to the body shop for.
Exactly. So,
I think it's crazy that we all kind of come from a similar background, because I can remember in the past being in I would remember in the past going, forget these big car dealers. They're intimidating. Like, I don't even want to walk in and talk to a salesman or anything like that. I mean, at that time I wasn't a salesman. As you guys all know now, I am a salesman. I'm a salesman, right? But I didn't start off as a salesman. So I avoided big car dealers. I feared rejection. I remember driving into their car lot, sitting there in my vehicle, and then backing up and leaving and say, let's go to this turd of a car lot that I see over here, because I know that they'll let me work. And here's the thing. You're not fixing the little stuff on these car dealerships. I mean, if it's a car and credit lot, forget about it. They want the deer hit fixed.
Oh God. Yeah. That's the truth.
Now, Brice, early on, what type of tools were you using? The ones that were issued to you out of Right Look, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I was using just bottom of the barrel.
PDQ?
I actually, you know what? They might be PDQ, but I don't want to say that. Bottom of the barrel, but they're not like what we have today.
Sure.
Huge difference in tooling from what we have today. But I still use them to this day. I find myself just going back to that same door hook, that I had when I first started. And, it's some of the adventure stuff. I had the luxury of having adventure in my backyard. And I would go to Chris, I think his last name was Seiler or something like that. But he would always, answer any questions I had about tooling. If I had, I wanted to make something custom, he would just do it right there on the spot for me. And that was a luxury right there. So I had bunch of crazy custom tools. Unfortunately, he's not in business anymore, but I still talk to him every once in a while.
Yeah, that was my next question, if he was still around, because I did see him at MTE this year, but this, I think, was the first year I didn't see him with the booth, or maybe it was last year.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He was walking around the expo this year.
Yeah, he did have some great stuff. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, some of the stuff is really good. So for me to be using it today, at least, so.
Oh, sure.
Nice. Well, Brice, let me ask you something. Now, everybody, when they think of Brice Kelly, they think of this guy that is unlocking massive dents. You look at these things that you post. I mean, most of your videos go viral. People love seeing a guy like you tackle the type of damage that you do. Now, what can you let us in on a little bit of your techniques on how you approach this extreme damage? Like, because sometimes if you're anything like me, I go at it and I'm like, I don't even know if I can.
Dude, you hit it on the head, John. That's exactly how I do this every single day. Half the time I don't even know what I'm getting myself into. And half the time I go into the job thinking, why am I here right now? But at the same time, I mean, there's a paycheck to be made, when this thing can be fixed, so I look at it in that aspect. The money's definitely there, but at the same time, it's kind of like a puzzle, and I enjoy the challenge of being able to put this all together, and I actually watched something that you were talking about today, John, with the working on separate areas and kind of bringing it all together. And that's the same technique that I use. So, and you said something about being barbaric as well. I'm a barbarian. Yeah. I mean, I will rough up a panel and, and I'll have to go back and clean it all up, but it's kind of a reactive thing. You start working on one section and you want to kind of basically see what that does, to the next section. Yeah. And, it's just a reactive process.
That's what I do too. I like to test like the panel out to see how far I'm going to actually get before I put too much time into like critiquing it and making it super, trying to go through the motions of keeping it clean. So I just want to, I like to dig in there.
I'll never like glass out one section, then go to the next section. Yeah. It's just a pile. Like the customer will walk out and say, holy shit, this is nasty.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in my car?
Yeah. But, it gets worse before it gets better.
There you go. It's like sausage. That's what I tell them,
That's what I did like on the Miata dent. You guys seen that, it looked, it did look really good in the middle of it.
That's a world famous dent, man. That thing everybody knows about that one.
Yeah.
How many views is that up to? Like 200,000?
I swear that's what I was thinking about when Brice and when Mike was talking. Like Miata was flashing through my mind, dude. on that
thing.
But going back again, what you're saying, because we all relate, because I was going, man, should I give up on this thing, man? I'm like, fudge, man, I've been here 4 hours. I'm going to get paid, man. I ain't leaving until I get paid, man. And that's why I tell my students, I go, what's your motto? I ain't leaving until I get paid. There you go.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing because you're already invested. And I really think that's where the learning process kicks in. And I want all of the audience out here to something to sink in what Brice said earlier in the show. There was a lot of times that he tried to fix these large dents and he wasn't able to fix them, okay? So I want everybody to realize that this principle is you can build off of your failures. And in fact, I don't even like the word failure. I want to say temporary defeat because we're talking about a barbarian here. that is saying, hey, you may have got me then, but you're not going to get me on the next one, and you just keep going back.
It's a confidence thing too,
Yeah. And you all want to know how to be successful at this? That's how you're successful.
Yes.
And I'm just glad you have the sense to record it ahead of time too, because even that with the Acura you did yesterday or the day before that you posted, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would have taken that on.
It was bad. And, I had my doubts on that one too, man. That was actually a 10-hour repair. I spent 10 hours on that job because for one, it was high strength steel. And you all know high strength steel is a biatch to work on. I mean, it's a lot different, especially the Honda stuff. For some reason, the Honda stuff stands out to me more than any other high strength stuff. It's just like alien metal.
Yeah.
And, It's just you work on it for a while, and you just got to keep working it until it does what you want it to do.
Now, can I ask you a question, because I get asked this a lot, especially when I did that Miata dent and I did a few other dents that I spent, a good 8 to 12 hours on.
Right.
When you spend that much time, and I have my own answer, and I'll share it with you after, but I'm asking you the question: why would you want to spend that much time on a dent when you could go make more money doing other dents? And now we know you're a good tech. You know you're a good tech. Why do you do that? Why don't you just sit back and go, I'm going to pick and choose my battles. I know I can do that dent, but I'm going to do it anyways. But now, is it? I'm going to let you answer that question, because I have my own reasons for myself.
Yeah, it's kind of a sickness, to be honest with you. When I see something challenging, man, I just want it, and I like it because of the shock value to the customer. When I can bring something from nothing to something, and, glass it and make it near perfect, they're going to talk. And, as far as, the reputation goes, people are talking, and I don't have to do a lot of selling in my area, believe it or not. I do a lot of picking and choosing. So, and it's based on, just me tackling things that, nobody else wants to do. And that's, that's just the way I do it, and the videos, I'm going to be honest with you, they are a major selling tool. And everybody that I talk to, all my customers, at least 6 out of 10 of them, I would say, are asking, hey man, when you fix that one in that one video, what did it look, they just ask me questions about the videos, and that just shows you that people are watching, they're paying attention. So, I don't know. I think it's a lot to do with just me being crazy and, for tackling this stuff. And I just love the challenge and the paycheck come along with it. So
I think when you do a dent, and, John, I'm sorry if you guys have any questions, but I'm kind of interviewing myself. I took over.
No,
when you
ask away, please. It's content.
When you look at a nasty dent, I don't know if you're on the same page as me, but when I look at a dent, when I teach my students, and when they're looking at a dent, I say, you see this dent here? Now, what do you think about it? Oh, I think it can't be done. I said, no, if it could be done, what would you charge? I don't know. All right. Name its extreme. What I do, basically what I come down to is if I look at a dent and I really don't know if I can do it, or if I have that feeling like, I don't want to do it, and I'll hit them up like some crazy number, like $800, $900 or something like that. And if they say yes, there's your motivation.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
There's your motivation, because if you undercut yourself, if you say, I'll do it for $350 or whatever it is, halfway through the dent, guarantee you're going to say it's not worth $350. Yeah, you're like, I'm out.
Yeah,
$350.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's where the prices come from. I've been really hitting hard with the pricing, and a lot of pictures come through the texting stream, and when somebody sends me, everybody sends me smashes. I'm hitting them high and hard on every single one of them, because it's just a lot to take on, and to stay till the end on these dents is just, it's a lot on the body,
Mm-hmm.
Now speaking specifically about the pricing, Brice, I know you are like a lot of us, early on, I'm looking at the way we're all joining together and we're all raising the standards of our pricing. Like, we don't see the $50 guys anymore. At least I don't, the $50 ding guys. I mean, that's starting to be a thing of the past, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you were like me, I was caught in the past before. Whenever there was no other technicians to network with about pricing and where should I be? I mean, you're basically just pulling pricing out of your rear end. Next thing you know, you're like, I want to get a $500 a day, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there.
That was me, man.
That was a lot of us, including myself. Now, let me tell you something. What has been the experience with you when you started raising your dollar value, your price value, and the old customers that got you at that level when they were buying it for $350, that dent for $350?
Yeah.
Now they're contacting Brice Kelly and they're saying $800, $900.
That's actually a question I wanted to ask you guys, because I've been having a really big issue with that lately. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I like repeat customers. No, I do. I like new customers. I don't know. There's something about it. That whole experience of doing paintless dent repair for the first time for a new customer that's never seen it. I mean, it's huge. You know, I love watching their reaction when they see it. You know, it reminds me of when I first started. And, you know, I'm kind of jaded to the whole thing now, but, you know, it's when I don't know, man, you have to just know your worth, the bottom line. And you have to be able to glass these repairs to know what you're worth and to know what to charge. I mean, really, it comes down to, being able to pick out every little last thing. And that's when it really hit me, is when I saw, you know, that I could do these repairs to a really high level, you know, to body shop quality. And that's when the light bulb went on. And along with all the other podcasts going on and all the other educational stuff, and Paul Cordon's price guide, it all kind of just came together. And it just basically, you know, I slowly introduced the pricing to all my body shops and all my new customers. And for the most part, it works out. But then again, you know, I have like a guy call me today from like 5 years ago. And this is back when I was doing, you know, $50, $75 dents, you know, and now it's $150. That's my minimum, you know, and he called me up. He's like, man, what happened with that lady that I referred you to, man? What, you know, she told me you charged her $150, and what happened with that? I said, well, man, I don't know what to tell you. I've been undercutting myself for years, I think, you know, and now it's time that, you know, I get what I'm worth. You know, sometimes I'm flat honest with people, you know?
Yeah. You have to be.
You have to be.
You have to be. Otherwise you're going to keep going, do I got to deal with this customer again? You know, it's almost like you wish, you know what, just have them give them a go away price. Me and Vince call it, you know, here's a go away price, you know? Going back to what you know, you hit something else on the head about pricing is the value of these. You have to know as a tech, your self value. You really, that's so important. Absolutely. Because we all come to the point where actually taking a door ding out, it takes us more time to actually take our tools out than take the dent out. Okay. Yeah. But you shouldn't feel guilty that you actually know how to do that, that you can take a dent out in 5 minutes. And you guys heard me say that on Posted. I think you guys heard me say it. Maybe I'll say it again. A customer said, you charged me $100 for 5 minutes worth of work. And my reaction was, no, I'm not going to charge you $100 for 5 minutes of work. I'm going to charge you $100 for 25 years and 5 minutes worth of experience. Results in what you know. Yeah. And you have to sell that. And you have to know that, because you can't feel guilty for being fast or being good. That's just completely backwards thinking. So, and I think that's what a lot of techs do.
The truth of the matter, from a PDR standpoint, from a dent technician standpoint, these customers are lucky if they have a Brice Kelly working on their car, period. You know what I mean? It's the equivalent of, okay, that's like, fun. You know, I'm friends with a dude who owns like a world-class tattoo studio. Dude's got like 17, 18 artists working underneath of him. They had a 12-month spread in Ink magazine. Some of his artists are the best in the world. Do you think it's cheap to go to them? Nah, you can get something cheaper down the street, right? But you're working with somebody who's the best in the world. One of the best in the world.
That might be a little different though, John.
Nah, not so much, dude. I don't see it as being different. I don't feel that.
You know, you're putting something on your body that's going to be there for the rest of your life, you know.
Well, the body of your car, it's going to be there for the rest of the car's life.
Well, yeah. It's not like
you know, Brice, I'm sure our new I see what one of your new mottos could be, you know, not, you know, hey man, you're expensive, you know. Well, not everybody can afford high quality, you know.
Right. So, yeah, I love that line. Yeah.
Pull the guilt clothes.
You don't go to Louis Vuitton and tell them, oh man, your purses are too expensive, man, you know. Or write a bad review because you can't afford it. I've had customers say the both and write reviews for that. So
on the flip side of that, it's not like you go into McDonald's and ask for a deal on a number one, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's why you have a brick and mortar.
Right. Do you have a brick and mortar, Brice? Or are you fully mobile?
I am 100% mobile retail.
Are you considering doing have a brick and mortar one day?
Probably not. I just enjoy different scenery every day, man. That's just me. I like going to people's houses.
How old are you? How old are you now, Brice?
Being in
37.
Florida helps too.
37?
Yeah, 37.
Okay, give you another 7 years, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Brice.
I'm
now,
sure, man.
before we move on to your favorite new tools that you use,
Sure.
and you can break that down, give us a quick walk down of Brice Kelly's day. Like, what does Brice Kelly do when he wakes up? What time do you finish the day? I mean, give us a quick breakdown of that. I'm sure the audience out there would love to hear your mobile routine.
Yeah. Well, typically what I do is I will wake up at about 5:30 in the morning, and I will get up, get my coffee, kiss the kids goodbye, and I will jet out the door to my first appointment at about 7 a.m. I know it's kind of early.
Wow.
I'm an early riser, an early starter, because some of these, the nature of every repair is different. So,
Oh, you're one of those woodpeckers in the morning, huh?
oh my God, yeah.
Dude, you ever get yelled at for getting?
Yeah.
Oh, yelled at, dude. I've gotten booted out of apartment complexes. I've gotten.
That's why I don't start that early, dude.
Oh my God, yeah.
See, I get up at 5:32, but I'm doing all this weird stuff like meditating and thinking and stuff like that until about 9.
That's awesome, dude.
Look at he's all,
So you're on metal at 7 o'clock, huh?
Keep on rolling.
Oh, yeah,
7 o'clock,
man.
Brice.
Yikes.
Yeah, Brice is killing his first
I
day at
know.
7 o'clock.
I don't work weekends though. I will tell you that. My weekends are very,
Sacred.
personal with my family, and I shut the phone down.
Same here.
Yeah, you have to have that that release, man, every week. So, but yeah, not to mention, working on this stuff takes a toll on your body, man. I mean, my knees are, working on that Acura you were talking about. I was just shot. I mean, I feel it for the next week after working on something like that. And I know you guys ask me like why I do this stuff, but it's part of the game, man. It's part of, this whole PDR game, and I love it. I love this business. So
you get to your first job at 7 o'clock. About how many jobs are you nailing a day? And about what time are you closing out? What's your average day feel like?
On average, I am nailing about, I would say roughly 4 to 5 jobs. That's just an average for me.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get the heavy hitter, pricing, the bigger stuff done first thing in the morning, because I usually have a guaranteed time slot first in the morning. I can be there, get it done. Then I can knock out the smaller stuff during the end of the day or towards the midday. It kind of depends. I will wrap it up typically about 6:30 area. I usually walk in the door about 7 in most cases, and I try not to overextend myself as far as driving to people's locations, although I've been offered some pretty crazy money to drive pretty far distances, and I've done it. So that's always fun to me. I like going like to the coast or something and doing a repair, spending the whole day on it. It's just one of the beauties of this business, man. I love the scenery changes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. What's your mile radius?
It's on average about 50 miles.
Yeah, that's
service.
I think me and Vince cover about that, right, Vinny?
I'm about 50 miles, but I like you, Brice. I still do mobile Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, you do? Okay. I thought you had a shop. Yeah.
I do have a shop, but I've been mobile for 20 years prior. So
that's awesome. Cool.
There's no way I want to be cooped up in a shop 5 days a week. Weekends are for my family, and I still go mobile on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I moved to Southern California for a reason, and it's for the scene.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah,
that's why I moved to Ohio.
Hells yeah.
Hey, Brice, what's the latest modern tool you've actually used a lot lately? What's on your? Or you can do it like give us a few actually.
What's your favorite?
My favorite, my go tool, I would say is probably going to be my 24-inch soft bend double from Ultra. That's just that classic tool that when it came out, it was such a game changer. I mean, it changed the way I do PDR, and a lot of techs do PDR, and I use it constantly. So
It's almost like a double-edged sword, though. Some people can just jeopardize the hell out of the dent with that.
Yes, they can. Yeah. So I use that, and I use I find myself using Sal Contreras' dent dials quite a bit. On fenders, open areas for stuff like that. And I enjoy the hand tools are critical. Like that Dentcraft set that they've had it out for the longest time. I can't live without it. I got to have it. That's which
hand set you referring to?
That's probably the cheapest one on the market. It's like $160, and it's like.
Are you talking about that hook one?
They're just like top. I guess you could say they start at like eighth, not eighth, 3/16 all the way up to about 3/8, and they're just hooks.
Yeah. The black handles.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Okay.
Man, are those critical for me? I use them every day. And as far as tap downs and knockdowns and things like that, I use just steel. I've been using steel forever. I think since day one. Steel with just interchangeable tips. That's the key. I like the fact that I can feel the metal against metal against metal is what I like. I have a hammer that's metal. It's just like basically a body hammer. That's, it's got the pick shaved off, and I use that. It's got some weight to it, but I'm so accustomed to it. I can't get rid of it. I love it. And, of course, I'm finding myself doing more and more blending now. I didn't always blend. I blended, blending probably about 2009 is when I really started getting heavy into it. And then, the tooling with the blending has just come so far, especially with Mr. Hiley's creation there. That thing is the bomb, kid.
I appreciate that. It's funny. Like, there's a people out there though that think I put it on just for show. Like it just looks so cool that it can't really work.
Oh, dude, that thing is it's awesome.
I just used it the other day.
I'm using it every day now. So
now, Brice, have you curved the tactical? We're talking about the tactical hammer here that I come out with. You can go to tacticalpdr.com, watch a video of it. But have you used the curved down on a rail yet?
Not
like
yet.
When you cut it down?
I have not used that yet.
Man, you're gonna need to hit me back.
That's the thing with this tool, man. Is like it's limitless. Like you can go forever with the possibilities. With it, just the different setups. As far as leverage goes, I've used the leverage setup once on a Mercedes, like a CLA. But
right. So you're telling me that I have to, on one of the hammers I'm going to send you, I have to put a metal plate on it? Is that what you want? metal plate?
Too, man.
Yeah.
I'd like to have one of those.
That's what I was sitting here thinking. Like we were talking about Brice being a woodpecker early in the morning. I'm like,
metal on metal too.
Dude,
clack.
My eardrums, I always wondered why Sal wore those big ass, cups on his ears and stuff.
The Martian headphones.
The Martian headphones, and I see why now, because the guy uses steel knockdowns, and man, it can take a toll on your eardrums, and not to mention it can get you kicked out of a lot of places.
I got a story real quick. I was doing an early repair, like about 7 something, and it was at UCSD. A big campus, college campus, early in the morning, man. I'm like, tack. This Asian lady girl came out with her hair all messed up. And she's like, oh my gosh, I have finals today and I had it last night. Can you please stop cracking on the car?
Oh my God, that's the worst feeling too, man.
And I'm like, I got to finish the job,
Like, what do you say to these people, I got kicked out of a apartment complex recently. It was about a month ago, and a security guard has the nerve to ask me for my card at the end. He's like, "Hey, man, listen, I know I just booted you out, but give me your card." I'm trying to make a paycheck here, and you boot me out of here.
I'm just doing my job, though, man.
The lady came up. She's like, "There will be none of that going on here." I said, "What am I doing?" I said, there's no spraying, there's no painting. I'm just tapping on a car. He's like, you're using chemicals or something. I was like, what? There's no way around that. You can't explain yourself because they
have no idea. Yeah.
So
you have the customer follow you down to old Walmart.
Oh yeah.
I've had that happen so many times. I'm like, Well,
yeah.
let's meet out at Walmart. Like nobody bothers you in Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, anything goes there.
Anything goes. You
RV,
can camp
campfires.
there.
Oh my God, yeah.
We, Mike, do you know about the Irvine Company, Mike? The Irvine Company owns like 80% of Orange County here in Southern
Are
California.
they kind of like Ace Parking here in San Diego?
No, they own like the land. They
okay.
like all around John Wayne Airport, all the way. It's a big whole land holding company. And you're on one of their properties because their lines on their parking spaces are green. So whenever I pull up on a mobile job and the parking spaces are green, I'm like, oh crap, we get kicked out of here. So I'm always looking around. It's like, all right, let's go all the way to the back of the lot, find a spot. And about a year ago, I worked on the vice presidents of Irvine Company's car. I said, hey, give me a couple of your cards, buddy, just in case I need it in the future, because I have been kicked out. And here in Southern California, what kind of ruined it for us mobile at the Irvine Company and a lot of the properties is that there used to be mobile oil change guys that would come out and change your oil while you're at work. Well, they're leaving, piles of oil and oil cans and all sorts of stuff. So they kind of ruined it for us PDR guys. But it's good to have that little grease in your pocket and you get that, that business card out and they're like, hey, I worked on the vice president's car. They're like, okay, you could stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Hey guys, I want to tell you something. I actually was going to vox you over or message you over about this today, but I actually found some Cola Fria, or at least I thought I found some Cola Fria today. And you guys obviously know, we just talked about the door that I kicked in recently on Facebook.
The RAV4, right?
Well, no, it's a brand new Toyota Highlander.
Or Highlander.
And I kicked it twice. It was really, really bad.
That's tempered steel. That's tempered steel.
Forerunner. Yeah, it was a Forerunner.
Yeah.
So, and I just heads up, like I blew my knee out by practicing my stomp kick in my martial art training. I put everything I had into this kick twice on this car.
Oh my God, yeah.
But we had to take the door off, to put it on a door stand. And there was all that gooey stuff, on the actual plastic panel. Now, I know you guys have seen the stuff in the Hondas. It gets all over your hands. But this Toyota 4Runner, the gooiness felt exactly like Cola Fria.
Well, it's dum-dum. It's like the stuff they use to
Dynamat.
Right.
Like the back end Dynamat.
Absolutely. So I peeled all this stuff up. I made me a Cola Fria ball. I put it on there, and I'm not kidding you. It pulled 10 times harder. Cola Fria. I mean, it was like crack. So I pull it off, and I'm like, maybe I'll goo it up like Cola Fria. Maybe I'll stretch it and all this, and I'll try it again. I start stretching this stuff, man. I'm like, wow, it's like all over my hands. It's not coming off.
Gooey.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it was getting warmer, and it turned into like how it is on a hot day. I'm in an air conditioning shop. It just covered my hands, dude. And then every time I got one piece off, it would all stick to my other hand. And next thing I had like 2 hands that was covered in this stuff. And I'm like, well, now let me tell you what saved me. I grabbed some Cola Fria and mixed it in there. So I actually got a Cola Fria hybrid with stuff in Cola Fria. It eventually worked its way off my hands.
You got Franken Fria?
I do, man. And let me tell you something. This stuff, well, I can't really get it off my tool now, so it's kind of stuck there, It sticks so hard, it's stuck on my tool. But man, does it pull hard.
Awesome.
I think one of the other misconceptions with Cola Fria is that, I still have the same jar that I got at MTE. And I'm still using the small amount. It's not like you have to replenish this anytime soon. It's the same piece I've been using for 6 or 10 months now, or 8 months, whatever. It goes a long way.
It does.
Made by aliens.
Are you using Cola Fria at all, Brice?
No, I'm not using Cola Fria, but I'm using the sticky icky tape.
Oh, okay. How's that working?
Oh, nice. Well,
honestly, this stuff pulls, man. I'm not gonna lie. I put it on a Ford Ranger. I was just at the one dealership I service in the area here. And I that's like the perfect place to try this stuff out on. And I put, I don't know what these Ford Rangers are made out of, but it's like the same like material that a damn Econoline van is made out of, like the cabs.
Yeah.
And it's just like super thick steel. Yeah. And I put that stuff on there, man. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, man, let me see what this stuff can do. And I wrapped it, man. And it pulled a nice high. Like just like glue would. I mean, it gives, but we're still always going to need glue, but it does the job.
Yeah.
Try it on a chrome bumper dent. Next time you see
I saw
it'll work.
Martinello guys doing that. Which those guys are insane. I don't know.
I did it a few weeks ago. It worked on a soft dent.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody out there in our audience needs to get Brice Kelly some Cola Fria. Somebody send this man some Cola Fria. Let him demo it. You guys hear us out there? All you Cola Fria salesmen out there, whoever sells them, get Brice Kelly some Cola Fria, okay? Because I want to re-interview him about this, because that what he said is one thing that what I think you would love about it, Brice, is that it never overextends the damage. So you said that the sticky tape pulled a high spot.
It did, yeah.
Cola Fria never overextends the damage. It always pulls flush in most cases. In most cases, right, Vinny? I see you squinting and shaking your video now, so you might as well explain yourself.
Well, yesterday I had a Ford Focus fender dent, and it was already kinked on the edge of it, and I used it. It made a bad high spot.
That's a kink on the edge of a panel.
I thought you were going to say it got it out. It made it worse.
It saved a lot of time. I roughed it up really quick and then rebuilt the edge of the fender.
Nice.
Right.
Sorry, Mike.
I use Cola Fria. I use Cola Fria anytime and every time I can. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
That's the thing, Brice. You're talking about the aches and pains, and definitely Mike and Mike doesn't have too many aches and pains, but I got wrist damage. I'm getting knee surgery in 2 weeks, and it's all PDR related. And what you'll find with the Cola Fria or even the sticky icky tape is it's going to cut down your rough down time and the motion of what you have to do with your hands. So just like glue pulling does as well, it just cuts down the push time behind the metal. So it is great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the thing about glue pulling is it unlocks it into a high spot. And a lot of times you have that error of knocking down that, we all do it. Nobody's always going to be so you got to be really controlled if you're going to glue pull and get it out just perfect. You're normally always going to pull it into a high spot. And what happens is during the knockdown work, it makes the metal flow. Cola Fria is different. It just pulls flush. And you're like, whoa, okay, no knockdown work there. And it pulls the dent into the crown, causing that reverse pressure to help the crown fall out, whenever you're doing your knockdown work, or blend out whenever you're doing your knockdown work. Yeah, dude, you would love it. What we're talking about here at the beginning of the show, I want to reiterate this to our audience because I know they want to know this about you. And I don't think we explained it in full detail, is that when Brice is talking about how he does these large dents, how he turns, essentially you take one big dent and you turn it into pockets of smaller dents. And then you attack the pockets of the smaller dents until eventually the dent's gone. Well, a great example of that is the video of the door that I kicked today that you were talking about earlier. After one pull with Cola Fria, it got broken to about 5 pockets of 5 smaller dents. And in your mind, you got to say, I'm going after this dent, but I'm not going to finish it to the end. I'm going to push it with a soft tip and then push my next one with a soft tip and then my next one with a soft tip. And then I'm going to come through with a sharp tip, or however you need to do that.
Well, it's funny how you can break down a dent. I tell people it's like the big dent itself is the war, and then once you break it down to smaller ones, you got little battles you got to deal with.
There you go.
And as you win each battle, you're going to start winning that war. So
hit it on the head.
It's like you separated the army, into little corners, and you can attack them and kill them one by one.
And you are right, Brice. Going back earlier, as you mentioned too, like big dents are like puzzles. You got to get that corner. Okay, I know that corner. Work a section of a dent on a big dent that you don't. It's okay to go. Okay, what have I got myself into? Where am I going with this dent? But cover the whole dent up. Act like you don't see that big dent. This is what I like to do. Is I actually act like there's a blanket over the big dent, and I'll cover up to one part of the corner, and I'll start working that area. And I'm like, okay, I know how to work that part of the dent. And then that part of the dent starts coming together with the other part of the dent. And the next thing you know, that dent's getting smaller, and you're putting pieces together as you're working it. So,
yeah. And when it comes to some of the stretch stuff, that's a whole different ball game as well.
That is a whole different game.
Stretch metal is a bear, man, and I enjoy that challenge right there. It's just a matter of the sequence that you take when you work on some of the stretch stuff.
Give and take.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and what tools you're using first can determine the outcome.
Walk us through one of those. Okay, well, you got let's say we got a stretched deep dent in the middle of a Toyota Highlander. Those
golf ball.
Yeah. Okay, golf ball. Yeah. What tool are you going to use, and what technique would you use to attack that dent?
Well, something new that I'm trying is I'm using a lot of sharp tools to actually start some of the really nasty deep stuff. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you can control it and keep it to just a controlled type fashion of a repair, and keep the micro highs to where they're not jack the dent up. You're essentially moving that metal. You're just doing it in a slower fashion. And if you go in there with I used to go in there just barbarian style with soft tip, just wow, and just
yeah, I think we all did. Yeah,
like everybody, it's a learning experience. But now I'm taking my time with a lot of that stretch stuff. But one thing I will tell you is that towards the end of the repair, I'm finding that the repair area itself, the stretched area, has to become a little bit larger. You have to build that strength around the stretched area for it to lay flat. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. And I'm going to comment on, just try to give our audience a visual of what Brice Kelly is telling you here. So now if you think about a coat hanger, okay, a metal coat hanger, and you stretch it out straight, how are you going to shrink that? You're going to bend it up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down until it actually shortens up. And essentially that's what the sharp tips do. But an oil can dent at oil cans because the perimeter can't absorb the stretch in the center of the damage. You're trying to fit something the size of a 50-cent piece into something that was once the size of a quarter. The perimeter just will not receive it. And it's only going to happen on panels that are very flimsy. You're rarely going to oil can a rail. There's enough stability in a rail. I hope you don't oil can a body line. If you do, shoot me a photo. I've never seen that.
I'm sure somebody can.
Yeah, but there's somebody out there that can. I know. Somebody's going to get a hold of us about that. Hey guys, I did it. But
all proud.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I mean, you have stability there to absorb it into.
Right.
When you're out in the middle of a flimsy panel, you do not have stability, and that's kind of where the shock technique works. Okay. Have you ever tried that, Brice? The shocking technique?
No, I have not. It's like welding, essentially. To the bottom of the panel.
Yeah. But you see here, you're going to understand this, Brice.
Yes.
See, the shocking technique, you tap it. There's no pushing. So none of the metal is absorbing into the perimeter. It is literally the metal is jumping from it and shrinking. So there's no pushing. There's no pressure that absorbs into that perimeter. And these little tiny pushes will pop it up into a high spot and you'll take it down. And you'll pop it up into a high spot and you'll take it down. And literally on an oil can dent, I have never seen any technique that even comes close. You could have the sharpest razor tip, and there's nothing that comes close to shocking that dent.
So for the audience, John and Brice, you're using sharp tip. John, you're using the shock technique on that welding machine that was. I have one too. I don't have the right adapter for that damn thing. I can't get it to work yet. Remember, John, I sent it to you? Anyways.
I couldn't get it to work either, so I never used it.
Yeah, it's my thing. But far as the guys who are listening, Brice, you're using sharp tips to shrink that metal up, and you just told us your technique, John. Brice, what tools are you using to actually push that? Are you using finesse tools, picks? What are you using?
I'm using my go-to is the Ultra Purple Handle. Man, I wish I knew model numbers.
No, that's all right. I know it.
I just
I know
don't.
what you're
It's the double bend. It starts as a round stock at the handle and it goes down to a taper,
like a blade tip.
Blade tip, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is like perfect.
Really, that's considered to me kind of dull. But are you talking a blade tip, sharp tip, or are you one of those sharp ones that they sharpened, or just a blunt round
it's kind of
butter
blunt.
knife?
Look around, butter knife style. I just think it's so versatile, that tool.
Yeah, I use it. Do you use the one with it's a completely double bend, or do you use one that's kind of semi-straight double bend?
Completely double bend.
Okay, all right.
It seems to work out. I mean, there are different sharp rods that I use, like, different sizes, 1/2 inch, 3/8, whatever, whatnot.
And when you were pushing that metal, are you pushing, I think you mentioned a little bit though, but you're pushing the metal to where you barely see a high spot coming up or just before it pocks or
Exactly. Yeah. You barely are seeing the high spot. I mean, it's just coming up and some of the metallics you're going to model. I mean, if you're not careful, but I try not to. I try to keep it as controlled as possible.
Yeah.
And just little sharpies all around until it finally comes up, and it just, especially with like some of the high, better quality steel out there, it works better. I find like the Acura that I just did, that stuff is like good quality steel, and it makes a big difference on a stretch dent, I think.
Yeah, and if you guys ever want to see some what we're talking about, because Brice is doing exactly the way John shows on denttrainer.com. It's a very popular tutorial. John explains it thoroughly and very understanding. Check it out, denttrainer.com. You will love it just for that part right there, because everybody's weaknesses right now is either stretched metal. That's generally what everyone's stretch metal thing is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Is that it, Brice?
That's the one.
Yeah, you know what? I use that tool too.
I love it.
I have that one and a straight one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for all of our listeners out there, Vince just pulled up the model number on this tool.
Wait a minute. Hold.
Talking about interrupted our Dent Trainer commercial, but you guys get to know what tool this is, and the model number is the I think it's a 7/16. Looks like a 30-inch standard double bend.
7603 30-inch standard double bend. Yeah.
There it is. You guys got it there.
7603 30-inch standard double bend. Yeah, I have that one too, Brice, and I also have the one that's a little bit more straighter too.
You know what? That's not it. That's not it.
Okay.
That's not the one.
Is it more straighter or more bent?
Yeah, that was very close, but it's got it's almost a 90 right at the top.
Oh, so you got really, yeah.
It's almost a 90. Yeah, that one's more like a 45. So the one you just showed me.
I'll try and track it down while you guys are talking.
Yeah.
So going back to commercial back.
Well, that is what Mike was talking about there. Just so you guys know where to find it. He is talking about Sharp Tip 101, and I think you were getting ready to talk about Blending 101, which is going to be a new blending tutorial coming out specifically with the tactical. But that Sharp Tip 101, we actually use a lot of the Mark Zirkus rods, and them are phenomenal as far as sharp tips. I mean, like, you asked the question, if I touch it, will it make me bleed? I'm here to tell you, Mark Zirkus rod, if you will look at it, it will make you bleed.
Yeah. Now, are you using any of the picks yet from Ultra? The straight picks, Brice? Like the chrome?
No, I'm not. No.
Freaking awesome tools, man.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Especially if you're going to a side panel and you need to like finish that bits, or maybe you got to stretch part of that dent. You can take that straight pick and just.
Really? Okay.
So it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I use that a lot now. I found that out when I was watching some hail guys do it out in 2013, and these guys were just super fast, stretched hail, and they were just killing it with those picks. And I was like, I got to try some of those. So never looked back. But
awesome. I
do agree with John. Sharp Zirkus tools, those sharp ones from PDR Finesse, are just crazy sharp. I think Dent Gear's got their set coming out too, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if that's actually public. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know. So. But look out for it if they are. But yeah, Brice, I was surprised though, because that actually, I was thinking when you said, you stretch dents, you use sharp tools, and you show me that Ultra one, I'm like, that's not sharp, man. That's blunt.
No, it's not. It's just enough to the point where
it does do the job.
It does the job, yeah.
But you're using it straight metal right on metal, obviously, to get that little that pinpoint high, right? You're not putting tape on.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You're using metal on metal.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, that's the way I used to roll, man. I never even knew about tape the first 2 years I was doing dent work.
Dude, I used to wrap my tools with electrical tape back in the day. That's what I was using.
Oh, I used to put a rag on the end of mine, like a towel, and like try to.
Oh, dude, I did
stick it in a 1/2-inch hole.
Yeah, you got. Why can't I get it? I seriously, man, I savaged some dents, but I'm like you, Brice. I mean, there were some days that I took on like big old giant dents that we'd fixed today, and I did them all with like Mike would say, I raw dogged the whole thing.
Raw dog.
Literally,
That's awesome.
raw dog. All right, guys. Hey, listen, we're gonna get into some tech tips, dude. So, Brice, you want me to come back to you, or you got one on top of your head? What do you think?
Yeah. No, well, just come back to me.
Okay.
Come back to me.
All right, John, you're up, dude.
Oh, dude, I'm up. I don't know. I was just sitting here thinking, like, do I have a tech tip? What about you, Vinny? How you doing?
You know what? I had one at the beginning of the show, but I forgot what it was. Jeez, let me think about that for a second.
I have this tech tip, but I feel like I almost have to give like a warning. Like I almost have to give like one of them. Like if you do this, you're on your own. You cannot sue me for this technique. Like you can't. Like I'm telling you not. I'm telling you not to do it right now, but I'm going to tell you that I do it. You know what I mean? I have one of them tech tips, and it kind of goes along with what we're talking about here. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. I know Dent Trainer, we've been hiding this thing for a long time, and people are begging me, like, how do you do it? And then all of a sudden, my Dent Trainer
No, don't give it away then.
Oh.
You drill 2-inch holes into door jambs?
Well, we need a little elbow room.
It's silicone.
I gotta get my carbon tech rod in there, dude.
There you go, dude.
Okay, you know what? I remember what it was now that I think of it. And Brice Kelly, being in muggy Florida, might appreciate this one a lot. I got myself some fresh balls.
But you did it.
I did. I ordered some. I know it's a topic none of us really want to talk about. However, David Streen came to the rescue, and I ordered up his product, Fresh Balls. For keeping things nice and fresh down below.
Are you serious?
And, yeah.
I've been gone for a little bit, dude. Really?
Yeah, he's got this product that he's selling. He did
commercials are awesome.
Commercial with a couple ladies, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this stuff a whirl because I am a fan of baby powder. But
I am too. Seriously.
You see, yeah. Well,
I could use that in Rome, dude.
Right?
It's hot out there. So go ahead.
And I'm not trying to product plug Dave Streen or anything. I actually paid for this. He didn't give it to me for free or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
And on the news, you see, these women coming down with ovarian cancer and whatnot from using baby powder. So I figured, you know what, I'll give something else a whirl so I don't, so my penis doesn't drop off, And here's my tech tip. Order some Fresh Balls, but don't be shocked when you first put it on because it's definitely like an icy hot sensation going on.
Wait a minute. Let's back this up, dude.
Are your balls fresher like when you put it on? Do they feel fresh?
You'd have to ask my wife.
Has she noticed? Has she said, man, your balls are like extra fresh?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second,
what
man.
show is this?
Wait, no, hold on a second. Wait a minute. We're talking about PDR and you're talking about balls and freaking.
It's a product for PDR, to keep it comfortable.
Yeah, but how in the hell did he come up with that? Wait, we have all things. I mean, he's what?
It's a complete left turn
Dave.
from hangers and hookers.
I gotta call Dave, dude.
The Fresh Balls, man. You just need a little dabble, do you? I mean, you take care of the boys in the morning, and
so you don't sweat. You're not sweating. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sweating. No, I don't know. Let me check.
No. Seriously. So you're saying it's hot, but you don't feel that nasty.
There's a cool sensation. Definitely. As soon as you apply it, it's like, whoa, hey, what's going on down there? It's like you're looking to make sure you're not on fire.
That is a little bit scary, man. I'm thinking of Dave Green, a dent guy, developing this on the road. Like, what is he mixing?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
To do this, you know what I mean? He's got this old concoction. Like,
what does it? Does it prevent your balls from sweating? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it turns into powder form. It turns into like a baby powder afterwards. Right. But it goes on like lotion, and it might get you a little excited. Depending on what time of day you put it on.
Starts to curd up on you.
It kind of has an icy feeling on the boys. And here's a tech tip for that. For those that like to shave down there, I wouldn't put it on right afterwards.
Vince is a manscaper.
I'm not a manscaper like that, but I could imagine it. It's like, after you shave, aftershave lotion back in the day, putting on some Old Spice or High Karate. You guys might be too young to remember High Karate or Old Spice, but it'd burn your face. Well, it's the same thing. I wouldn't recommend putting it on your boys after a hygiene job, trimming the bushes down there.
Right.
All right. Let's get off.
There's my tech tip. Next one. Hey, you asked.
Hope my technique tip is as good. I don't think it's going to be as good as that.
Well, go ahead, Brice. Shoot away.
Oh man, honestly, so we're just basically just giving away secrets here. Is that what we're doing?
Well, we give something that helps everyone during their daily PDR life.
Let's see, man. I love Delrin for pushing, on body lines. That's like my biggest thing. Delrin tips are huge, and when you get a lot of heat on that body line, you can really get the center of those body lines nice and without breaking through or. It's just an all around great. I would say midway. It's kind of a great midway tip. Then you finish off with your sharps after that.
Yeah, that was my next thing because I'm a big fan of Delrin too, and I tried getting Mike to go nylon and Delrin for years. And are you using a blunt tip or a sharper one, or kind of soft?
Honestly, man, the array of different interchangeable tips is huge. I mean, I have every type of tip.
In Delrin?
Yeah, I actually sharpen quite a bit. I do a lot of just sharpening with my drill.
Yeah.
Just different, shapes and stuff like that. If I need to get a really sharp area with Delrin, I'll sharpen it up to where it needs to be.
It's very forgiving.
Oh God, yeah, it is. And that's the reason why I like it. So
yeah.
Let me tell you what happens to me every time I use it. It slips, and I get this giant snail trail running through my dent that I've got to tap out, and I'm like, oh God, man.
Dude, take it to the floor of your shop and scuff it up so it gets a little bit of.
You guys don't have to use any of that if you put some gaffer's tape on it.
Or gaffer's tape as well.
Gaffer's tape,
right.
Yeah.
So okay,
absolutely.
But adding to that, Brice, of great minds think alike. I do the same thing, but I actually use a root beer tip to finish out that last little bit, that little pit, because the root beer tip stays very, very sharp. Once you get it sharp.
I haven't tried the root beer yet.
Yeah,
no,
I don't use them to knock down because every once in a while it's like metal tips. They end up freaking marring the paint.
Yeah.
So I use them strictly for pushing, and it works great, especially for those.
Sometimes, you have no choice but to mar. Like if you're reworking a bad PDR job or something, you have to mar it in some areas because those tips or Sharpies are just, to the point where you have to use a metal tip to knock them, flat and then come back and stand,
Yeah.
So.
John, Mike, some tips.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to finish what I was saying earlier, and I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know what, and I'm going to tell you, I do not recommend that you do this. So if you hurt yourself, if you light something on fire, if your garage catches on fire and everything explodes and it catches your house on fire and then your whole neighborhood catches on fire and then everybody, like your whole city explodes and everything burns down, this is not my fault. Okay? So it's not my fault. No. It's actually not that bad. And I know a lot of people use the technique and they've seen it on Dent Trainer. One of the ways that we use to shock the dent out is we actually connect a screwdriver to a kind of like, you want to get like a midway dead battery, from your actual light. And we use jumper cables on it. And actually we take the ground and, like, for instance, I only do this on hoods. You really can't do it on doors unless you take them apart. But if you got a hood that really oil can bad on you and you want to try to save it, you can use this technique, especially with big hail.
MacGyver technique.
Yeah. And we actually shock the dent out with the screwdriver that is connected to the positive and the ground. You got to grind something on the hood. Like, them little tabs that hold the hood liner in.
Yep.
If you bend one of them down and sand it down and get some raw metal there, you can hook it there, your negative. Or you can actually take an S-hook and put it in one of the holes and clamp it in place with that ground. And that's what we've been using for the shock technique. And I had that big dent machine. Unfortunately, I couldn't try it out because we didn't have the right adapter to plug it in. They sent us this Italian adapter, and then I tried to buy an adapter that would adapt it to like an American AC/DC, and it just never worked. So I can't tell you guys the way I feel about the big dent machine. But I can tell you, Ray Sapinu gave me this technique with this, with your shop battery. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you ever do attempt it, get yourself a freaking scrap hood and practice on it first. I mean, you
fire extinguisher
down. You got to be super fast, man. You got to be like Mr. Miyagi catching a fly type fast. You know,
essentially, you're welding.
Essentially, you are. So again, people with pacemakers, if you do it and something happens, I'm still not liable. And, if your fresh balls catches on fire, because God knows what that's made from, while you're doing it and the spark flies down your pants and your balls catch on fire, I'm not liable. I'm gonna have to ask my attorney if this will hold up in court, but I'm sure it will.
Well, that's awesome, guys. I think we're about out of time. I am going to give you guys a tech tip on the next main podcast we do. So, but Brice, I just want to say thanks a lot for coming on here, sharing your techniques.
Absolutely, man. I had a blast for sure.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time out of your day. I know it's late here in Florida.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
Well, thanks, guys. We are out of here. I'm out of here. Oh, go ahead, John. What's up?
Hey, and just a heads up, you guys know I got to do my last plug right here. If you guys want to see how that's done, that technique's done, get on over there to denttrainer.com. I even show you how to hook it up on aluminum and take a look at it over there. So currently our sale's going down on Sunday. So it's our sale that we're having is going to disappear on Sunday. There should be a new sale up there. I think we're going to start pushing the monthly and the quarterly packages, but the 6 months are going to be down by then, and so are the yearlies. You guys are going to have to wait a little while for that, but I should have something going for the quarterly and the monthly.
So you're talking next Sunday or this Sunday? Because if they hear this thing on Tuesday, the sale's already down.
Already down. Yeah, it's already down. I announced it last. Sorry, guys.
Hey, you guys, get out there and buy some shirts, please. That helps support us on our podcast. Get out there to pdrtooltime.com. Purchase those shirts. Those help us a lot. We appreciate your support. And again, we want to say thanks to Brice Kelly for coming on. And hey, dude, happy pushing, dude. May the Dents be with you, man.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Great having you.
We out of here, dude. And don't forget what does Daniel Grom always say, Vince?
Level up your tools.
There you go. We out. See ya.